Today, I finally set out to obtain my very first Emberstone, a magical artifact so important that an obsessed philosopher spent years searching for one, accidentally caused a cave-in, lost all his research, misplaced a priceless ancient tablet, got attacked by giant ants, and may or may not have gotten his business partner killed. Naturally, this sounded like an excellent quest. Unfortunately, I had also been away from Embers Adrift for about 3 months and couldn't remember how to swap weapons. So before I could recover an ancient artifact, I first had to survive my greatest enemy, my own keybinds. Welcome back to Embers Adrift. It has officially been 3 whole months since I last set foot in Newhaven. And let's just establish a fundamental rule right out of the gate. Whenever you leave an MMORPG for an extended period of time, please, for the love of all things holy, take exactly 3 minutes to refamiliarize yourself with the controls before you do anything else. I did not do this. Instead, I proudly marched directly into a dungeon and then had to immediately turn around and sprint out of said dungeon because I could not, for the absolute life of me, recall the button to swap my weapons. A complete rookie mistake. Now, the only other viable alternative here is to simply never take a 3-month leave from a game ever again, and then your muscle memory remains perfectly intact. Problem solved. So what exactly am I doing back here? Well, I have been spending a massive amount of time traveling through other digital worlds lately, and I desperately wanted to revisit a game that had completely charmed me earlier this year. And my grand plan for this specific adventure was to finally heed the wise advice of a fellow drifter and go get my very first Emberstone. Emberstones are key progression items in this game. They are used to store Ember Essence, which acts as the primary resource for fast traveling across zones and for powering the game's alchemy and combat buffs. But here's the catch. You do not just start the game with an Emberstone handed to you on a silver platter. No, you have to actively earn it by completing a dedicated tutorial and lore questline. And that entire journey begins right at the alchemy in the main hub city of Newhaven. You just have to march directly to Banton Thrimm. Banton immediately looks you dead in the eye and declares that he needs, and I quote, "someone capable and trustworthy for a task of utmost urgency." Well, hello? Why, that is literally me. You are describing me perfectly, Banton. Apparently, Banton here spent years hunting for an ancient tablet that supposedly contains the secret of magical ember-powered technology. The moment he finally found it, he caused a cave-in, got attacked by giant ants, lost all his equipment, misplaced his research, dropped the tablet, and accidentally abandoned his travel companion in a collapsing tunnel. Naturally, this sounds like my problem now. So we're heading into the Ember Veins to investigate the missing explorer, recover Banton's belongings, and see whether these picnic pests are secretly sitting on the greatest scientific discovery in Newhaven history. Now, of course, this requires you to venture out and visit an Ember Vein. I had absolutely no earthly idea what an Ember Vein was. Look, the Embers Adrift community is incredibly lovely. It really is. But they often operate under the deeply flawed and quite frankly dangerous assumption that I am a smart player. I am not. I am a creature of pure impulse and vibes. So being told to just go find an Ember Vein was about as helpful to me as being handed a cheap fishing pole and told to go reel in the Loch Ness Monster. But after a staggering amount of Reddit troubleshooting, I finally figured out that Ember Veins resemble large, 4-fingered claw-like openings in the ground that aggressively emanate small lightning strikes and colorful smoke, and apparently they act as localized mini-dungeons scattered throughout the game's zones. Well, dang, I have absolutely seen those things before, but how on earth was I supposed to know they were secret mini-dungeons? I always just assumed they were like standard spawn nests. Plus, they don't exactly have an obvious architectural front door with a welcome mat, okay? So again, hello, idiot here. But it turns out, to enter one of these things, you literally just have to walk directly into the dead center of the glowing claw opening. And lo and behold, whoosh, magical transportation straight into a mini dungeon. I was today years old when I found out that there are actually 2 different sides to this dungeon. One side is strictly intended for group play with highly challenging murder mobs, and the other side is nicely tuned for solo players. Right at the entry of the zone, you find Banton's missing bag, and when you open it up, you discover some amazing lore. Banton's missing companion wasn't some brave, noble adventurer at all. He was a total treasure-hunting opportunist who thought he was successfully scamming a local philosopher for easy gold. Right up until giant bug thugs turned the entire expedition into a complete disaster. But inside that exact bag, I finally acquired my very first Emberstone, which, after reading the fine print, turns out to just be a fancy magical rechargeable battery. You officially juice up this bad boy by killing ashen creatures, and once it's fully charged, it allows me to fuel up my alchemy abilities, gain massive mystical stat buffs, and finally fast travel around the world. You can even upgrade its total capacity later through quests. And honestly, considering Banton nearly got himself buried alive just chasing down raw research about these things, I'm finally starting to understand why absolutely everyone in Newhaven is so obsessed with them. It's the ultimate medieval power bank. Naturally, because I successfully opened a bag, I am immediately rewarded with a sparkling new list of chores. I have to gather scattered research notes, recover the delicate energized Emberstone, did that, recover the alchemist's toolbox, recover the mysterious metal tablet, and slay a whole bunch of glyph ants within the crawling burrows. Now, I am proud to report that I was able to do almost everything on that list, except for recovering that mysterious metal tablet. That specific item is still firmly sitting on my bed like a massive unfolded load of clean laundry that I'm actively choosing to ignore because the universe refuses to let me be entirely successful. We all have the laundry bed, mine just happens to be guarded by an overgrown anthill. Now, I did end up chatting with a seasoned drifter who gently explained that this tablet is notoriously difficult to obtain and that I would likely have significantly better luck braving the group side of the dungeon to find it. Even Banton himself officially stated that the tablet could be trapped deep inside a giant armored murder ant, which is almost certainly a high-level boss mob. But then he added it's also entirely possible one of the little ones just casually carried it off into a corner as well. Oh, Banton, he's just so incredibly cute, giving me that sweet, beautiful shred of false hope that if I just endlessly butcher low-level solo mobs for the next few weeks, I might actually stumble across the tablet. Oh, bless his little digital heart. And honestly, considering there are currently exactly 0 human beings online at my level, or even within my 10-level gap range, I'm absolutely going to side with hope. I shall stay right here on the safe side of the wall and continue violently exterminating the little ones. And on that note of sheer desperate optimism, that is all the time we have for today. Until next time, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next world.